So get this. What if I told you a 3-year-old could grasp the basics of physics? It sounds pretty wild, right? But according to one of the most important psychologists of the 20th century, Jerome Bruner, it's not only possible, it's actually the key to unlocking how we really learn. Today, we're going to dive into his revolutionary roadmap for building better learners. Okay, so at the very core of Bruner's work, there's this one huge idea. An idea that completely flips the script on how we usually think about education. It was a radical statement back then, and honestly, it's still pretty radical today. Just let that sink in for a second. Any subject, to any child, at any stage. Now, he wasn't saying we should dumb things down, not at all. He was arguing that the essence of any complex idea, whether it's quantum mechanics or Shakespeare, can be presented in a way that a young mind can connect with. It's an absolutely incredible claim about our potential. All right, so you're probably thinking, that sounds nice, but is it just a theory? Does it actually work in the real world? Well, funny you should ask. There's an amazing case study of an entire country that basically bet its future on Bruner's idea. And the results were just staggering. It shot their students right to the top of the global charts. This wasn't just some small tweak. We're talking a massive educational overhaul. Back in the 1980s, Singapore's government did something incredibly bold. They literally threw out their old textbooks and built a brand new math program from the ground up, all based on Bruner's ideas. Instead of just memorizing formulas, they focused on deep, intuitive understanding. And the result? I mean, wow. Today, their students are consistently ranked as the best in the world. So, how in the world did they pull that off? Well, the answer is in Bruner's core mechanism for learning. It's a simple but incredibly powerful 3-step process that takes a learner from hands-on experience all the way to abstract thought. It all boils down to this. We learn best when we start with tangible, real-world stuff and slowly, gradually move towards symbols and ideas. Let's imagine you wanted to teach a child a simple math problem, like how to divide 4 by 2. First up, you'd start with what Bruner called enactive representation. Fancy term, right? But it just means learning by doing. It's physical, it's hands-on. So forget the worksheet. The student might literally take a small cake or a pizza, cut it into 4 pieces, and then share it between 2 friends. The knowledge of division is baked right into the action itself. Okay, once they've got the hands-on part down, you move to the iconic stage. This is all about learning with images. The student doesn't need the physical cake anymore. They can just draw a picture of it, cut into 4 slices. This picture, this image, it's like a bridge, right? It connects that physical thing they just did with the more abstract idea we're heading towards. And then, finally, we get to symbolic representation. This is where we bring in the abstract stuff, numbers, symbols, words. After they've understood the concept through doing and seeing, the student can now write down the equation. 4 divided by 2 equals 2. And here's the magic. That equation isn't just a bunch of random squiggles on a page anymore. It's packed with real meaning because the kid has lived it and seen it. Now, you might think this 3-step thing is just, a neat little trick for one lesson. But for Bruner, this was just the beginning. It's the basic building block for a much, much bigger framework, one that shapes a student's entire education and makes sure knowledge really sticks. And that brings us to his most famous idea, the spiral curriculum. Seriously, think of it like a spiral staircase. You don't just learn a topic once and then you're done with it forever. No way. You keep revisiting the same core ideas, like photosynthesis or democracy. But every time you circle back, you climb a little higher and see it from a more complex, more interesting perspective. It works on 3 really simple but powerful principles. First, you keep coming back to the same topics over and over again. Second, every time you come back, the complexity gets cranked up a notch. And third, and this is absolutely crucial, the new stuff is always connected back to what you already know. This constant looping and layering builds this deep, interconnected web of knowledge, which is so different from just memorizing a list of disconnected facts you're going to forget a week later. Okay, but what powers this whole system? What keeps that spiral turning upwards? Well, it doesn't just happen by magic. It's fueled by this dynamic partnership between the teacher's guidance and the student's own curiosity and discovery. Bruner saw it as this incredible dance between 2 forces. On one side, you've got the teacher, providing what he called scaffolding, a support structure for learning. And on the other side, you have the student, who's actively involved in what he called discovery learning. Together, they create the energy that drives that spiral up. And scaffolding is such a perfect word for it, isn't it? Just think about a building going up. You need that temporary structure to support it while it's being built. That's the teacher. They give active support, maybe they break a problem down into smaller steps, they guide the student. But as the student gets stronger and more confident, that support is slowly taken away until the student's knowledge can stand all on its own. And this leads right into the student's role, which is discovery learning. The whole point here is that students are not empty buckets that you just pour information into. They're builders. They are active participants who are encouraged to explore, to ask questions, and to construct their own understanding with the teacher acting as their guide. So we've talked about the techniques, the curriculum. But if you zoom all the way out, you see that underneath all of this is a really profound philosophy. Not just about learning, but about what it means to be human. You see, later in his career, Bruner got really into the idea of stories, of narrative. And he had this aha moment. He realized that the way we learn, starting with concrete actions and building up to abstract ideas, is the exact same way we make sense of our own life. We don't just have things happen to us, we are constantly weaving those events into a story. This quote just nails it. For Bruner, learning is world-making. It doesn't matter if you're a first grader cutting a cake, a scientist discovering a new particle, or an artist creating a masterpiece. You are doing the same fundamental human thing. You're building a story, your own personal map of reality. And that kind of leaves us with one final big question, doesn't it? If Bruner is right and learning is all about building the story of our world, then every single thing you learn is a chance to add a new chapter, to build a better, more interesting world inside your own mind. So the real question isn't just, what are you going to learn next? It's, what kind of world are you going to build?